My charger, they normally haven't carried my pack. It's gone. Right, I'll go dead. It's your fault. You've got that 80% there. Believe it or not.
You alright? I don't miss this. I don't miss these away trips to do. It's easier in a clinical studio. Ta-ra, Pete.
Ta-ra, mate. Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Well, shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Morrison, goal!
Good morning. Sorry for the slightly late start. It's all a bit early for this, isn't it? Welcome to Cardiff City TV. I'm your matchday host, John Donovan. And of course, it's never too early for the South Wales derby. It's Swansea City v Cardiff City today, the 113th meeting of these South Wales rivals. And of course, the first since Aidan Flint wrote himself into Cardiff City folklore back in March, scoring the winning goal at the then named Liberty Stadium, now of course the Swansea.com Stadium. The reason for the late start, a few technical problems from the Swansea.com Stadium today. I'm hoping shortly to be joined by my colleague Ashley James. He's in situ at Swansea today along with Mark Denham. I thoroughly recommend you join Mark and Ashley for audio commentary today. If you are in certain restricted markets, well, you've got the pleasure of my company on video stream commentary. But it is Derby Day, and of course the last time these two teams played out a South Wales derby, a slightly different landscape. Swansea at that time going for automatic promotion, Cardiff City trying to chase down the playoff places. It's a little different today with both teams precariously close to the relegation drop zone, more than they'd want to be, more than they'd expect to be. But whatever the case, the South Wales derby is a standalone must-win game. As I said, we hope to be joined by Ashley momentarily. Reason being because there's a lot of big team news to discuss. So I think we should get to that straight away. Both teams show two changes from their last encounter. But for Cardiff, I do say it feels like two seismic changes, as it would appear Cardiff have gone back to a flat back five, and I say flat back five because there are again 5 centre-halves in the lineup. It didn't quite work against West Brom, nominally because Cardiff conceded such an early goal, and you would think the strategy behind Mick McCarthy's thinking is to give his team a platform in the game, and against Swansea, a possession-based team, try and keep Swansea in front of them. So it's imperative that Cardiff do not concede early. So without further ado, the team that Mick McCarthy sends out for this South Wales derby, and as I say, shows two changes from that improved performance but ultimate defeat against Reading. It is a return to a back five, so it's Alex Smithies in goal, Kieran Brown at left back, left wing back, however you would describe it. You then have Curtis Nelson, Aidan Flint, Sean Morrison and Mark McGuinness. No Sam Bowen, unfortunately. It would seem he's still out with that illness that Mick McCarthy spoke about in his pre-match press conference. So it's a midfield holding two of Joe Rules and Marlon Pack. And then it's Leandro Bacuna and Ryan Giles flanking Kiefer Moore. So big news for Cardiff City. They have tweaked formation again after that impressive performance against Reading. Obviously horses for courses, and it would appear that Mick McCarthy wants to keep his team solid, wants to make them tough to break down and to give themselves a platform as the game goes on. Against a Swansea team, we expect to have a lot of possession of the ball. For Swansea themselves, they also show two changes from their last encounter, a draw against Wayne Rooney's Derby County. Their lineup is as follows. It's Ben Hamer in goal, a back three of Ryan Manning, Ryan Bennett and Kyle Norton. Two very cultured holding midfielders in Flynn Davis, newly arrived from Ipswich, and Matt Grimes. How important for Swansea that he didn't depart on transfer deadline day. Jake Bidwell is in at left wing back. Ethan Laird returns at right wing back, the Manchester United loanee with pace to burn. And then there's Jamie Patterson and Corey Smith behind the Swansea City main goal threat, Joel Puero. So those are indeed the two lineups. As I say, much to discuss. So I hope we get Ashley back on the line soon, because I know he will have some input into that Cardiff City lineup. But of course, the man whose input counts the most is manager Mick McCarthy. So in the meantime, let's listen to what the manager had to say in his press conference a couple of days ago.
You can speak about it all you like and ask them to be calm, and passionate hearts, calm heads. The last time I used that one, somebody was sent off after 1 minute in the second half, so I probably won't be using that one again. It's difficult. It's the game. It's the game that, you know, creates that feeling, that feeling inside you when you're playing it. It gets you going, gets you at it. Is it a 50-50? Is there something gone wrong? Something said? The noise? It's the atmosphere that it inspires people. That's why you see such ferocious games at times. I'm hardly the one to be saying to anybody, like, you know, you can look, calm heads, be calm, because actually you want that passion. You want people to be caring. You want people to be putting tackles in. You just hope that it's not overzealous and it ends up being a red card. They're always intense. They're always high profile. Hence, you know, all the stuff that's going around the game this week. And I love that. I love that about them. And you know, if you can win them, then they're brilliant. If you get beaten them, it always leaves you leaving pretty low, and even more so for the fans, because it's important for them. I mean, players come and go, managers come and go, but the fans are always there, and they like the bragging rights from the derby games. The crowd were great. They were fabulous against Reading. They stayed with us right to the very end, and so performances are important, but results are the most important thing, and we've not been getting them. And any stick that I've been getting after the West Brom, Coventry, Blackburn, thoroughly deserved for all of us, because we didn't play well. Reading, different ball game. So can we produce that performance? And if we do, then we can win the game.
Sorry, we went a little dark there as we're still trying to establish contact with Ashley James. I'm hoping that you can see and hear him. I'm still having a few problems with my earpiece at the moment, but we will try and ask Ash a few questions, because there are many I want to ask. And Ash, if you can hear me, the first one, well, we have to bring up, after that much improved performance against Reading and a change of formation and a flat back four, ultimately, are you surprised that we've gone back to the 5 at the back and the 5 centre-halves today?
You can hear me. So I was in the main bowl of the stadium, but the atmosphere, trying to get some atmosphere for you guys, but it's just too much at the moment. I can't hear myself think up there. Formation-wise, yes, I am surprised. I think it's a surprising team selection, to say the least, not just because of the improvement that we saw against Reading, but also because of the stark limitations that we saw of that formation in the second half against West Brom. I thought, you know, other than conceding the very early goal against West Brom, it largely did its job in the first 45 minutes, and it did limit a good West Brom, very good attacking West Brom team from largely playing in the final third. But what you saw in the second half was a knife through hot butter at times, with they are really quick forward players, direct attacking goal threats. You know, Carlin Grant in the wide areas, Callum Robinson as well. Now, whether the thinking here this afternoon is that João Pirro through the middle will be more of an obvious physical threat, and then the two men in the wider areas, in Patterson and Corey Smith, just don't offer the same kind of direct threat that the West Brom attacking three do. And he feels like it's a move to go back to that. We'll wait to be seen. But it does seem a strange selection on a day like this, where emotions are so heightened anyway because of a derby. They're increasingly heightened anyway because of the run of form the Cardiff are in at the moment. It just seems like a team selection that heats pressure.
Now, so apologies, because your face always brightens my day, but we'll press on. And just to finish up on that, and I don't want to seem overly negative, because of course Mick McCarthy is so experienced, and of course we've got a derby to play, but There was a loss against Reading, but we took some momentum out of it. Do you feel perhaps we've given that momentum away a little bit?
I think the positives for me, regardless of the change in selection, is that we get to see Joe Rolls and Marlon Pack together in the middle of the park again, which, it doesn't take a genius to look at when our own form dropped off a cliff. It was because Joe Rolls was missing in there, and not just Joe Rolls, but the combination that he and Marlon Pack had forced in there, because I think they were, I think most Cardiff fans, we had question marks about the middle of the park coming into this season, but they started so well as a pairing and really were the foundation on which that we built a decent positive start to the season. So seeing those two together in there is a positive. Seeing Ryan Giles obviously starting from the first minute again after his illness problems is a massive positive, and just seeing Kiefer Moore through the middle is another big positive, because regardless of how well he's playing personally at the moment, we just look a more threatening side when he's playing through the middle than anyone else, quite frankly.
You touched upon Kiefer Moore there, Ash. It was mentioned in the press conference as well, just how big that goal from 6 yards could be that he got on Monday night against Estonia. If ever a man needed a goal, it was perhaps Kiefer Moore. His work rate stays the same, but he didn't have that cutting-edge threat that we've come to expect from Kiefer Moore. Could that be a big goal for Cardiff City?
Understandable when you take the context of his start of the season. In isolation, he's had that illness. He missed a lot of training. He came back from a prolonged spell at the Euros where, emotions for himself would have been heightened and would have been swirling. Then you compound that with the transfer speculation. He's been in and out of the team for various different reasons. So it's no wonder that he hasn't really hit the ground running this season. And I do think that performance for Wales, let's hope that it's the goal that is the big takeaway for him, and not the disappointment of what came after with a couple of strange refereeing decisions and the yellow card.
Two more quick questions, Ash, because I know we've got to throw it over to you and Mark for commentary. One more Cardiff City focused. Ryan Giles, we're going to hear from him shortly. He gave a pre-match press conference as well. He's the main attacking threat for Cardiff City. How do we get him into the game? How do we get him to influence the game? You and I have had these discussions off camera, because against West Brom, in this sort of formation, his impact was rather nullified. Width is how we get him into the game. Just feed him in the wide areas and ask him to send early balls into the box to give Kiefer Moore something to battle for, because you look at the way that the back three are formulated for Swansea. They're not being picked for their defensive qualities. They're being picked because they're really comfortable taking the ball short from the goalkeeper. Carl Norton playing as the middle of a central three is a fine distributor in that area. He had a torrid time against Mitrovic. Many other better centre-halves than him have. But these three, Manning in there as well, these three are being picked because of their on-ball abilities, not because of the defensive abilities, which is quite a shift in thinking for centre-halves at the Championship level. Too obvious as we preview Swansea, just with the last question, to say it's going to be a game of possession versus defence and Cardiff trying to hit on the counter-attack. There's going to be subtleties, of course. I'm looking at Ethan Laird coming back in, pace to burn, going up against Kieran Brown perhaps. Away from the obvious and the possession against Cardiff City, trying to be stoic in defence, where is this game going to be won and lost? And what are the key threats you feel from a Swansea City perspective?
I mean, we sound like a broken record sometimes, don't we, John? But it's that first goal. The first goal is so important at the Championship level anyway. It's going to be equally important this afternoon. You've got two teams, because it could very well settle the game. You've got a team in Cardiff in wretched form, and you've got a team in Swansea who are improving week on week, but are struggling to score goals, especially here at home. So, if they do get that first goal, then they will and could strangle the life out of the game then by controlling that possession in the middle of the park, because that's what Grimes and Downs have been picked for as a pairing. And then you've got Corey Smith playing ahead as well, who could easily drop in and create a midfield three, likewise with Bacuna for ourselves. So whoever gets their noses in front, I think they'd fancy themselves to have then the tactical acumen with how they've been sent out to go and see the game out.
Ash, we got there eventually. Thank you for your patience, and we'll see you or hear from you in a few moments for audio commentary with Mark. Go well today.
Good to see you as ever. Thank you.
Well, we are running out of time, so the running order might have changed a bit, but I did tempt it, so hopefully it's coming up next. Ryan Giles, the danger man for Cardiff City, spoke to the press a couple of days ago.
Like you said, it's been. We started off brilliantly, to be fair, and I think there was always room for improvement, of course. But in terms of results, it was a good start, and we have took a bit of a dip, I'd say, in the last 5 or 6 matches we've had. Whether it's I don't know what you could put it down to. I think it's like you say, you just got to. Sometimes in football, I think you just need that little bit of luck, maybe. And I think it's a big part of us of sticking together as well as a team, really, and basically trying to get out of this. Well, whenever they come around, I think it's a great time to play in a derby. And at the end of the day, I think it's exciting and it's important for everybody, the club, the fans. You know what I mean? And we're all buzzing for it. The lads have been speaking about it in training all week, so we've been preparing really well for it, and I don't think there's ever a good or bad time. Do you know what I mean? But I think every time you come up in the derby, it's very exciting. So yeah, we've had a good week's training really. So we have missed a few heads due to the international, but we're all back together now. So but yeah, like you say, Swansea are a really good team. Really comfortable on the ball, really good in possession. Like to keep the ball and keep you moving and try and find passes to try and split you in between. So like you say, it'll be a really tough game. I think we just have to be resilient in our play, and we have to go and take the game to them. I think, yeah, like you say, I think there's always room for improvement. I think if I look back already at the last however many games I've played, I think I need to add a few more goals for sure, playing up in that attacking position. But no, like you say, I've been happy with the start, and I'm grateful for the manager for believing in me and the players for giving me the belief to go and express myself, really. And like you say, I think I've just got to build on my numbers and just keep trying to improve and help the team as much as I can.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Opportunity there. 7.5 minutes gone. Volks launches it into the area. It comes off somebody and it's loose. It's a good save by Woodman. Aidan Flint! City lead in the derby!
Well, Cardiff just managed to flood blue jerseys around that second ball. It's a marvellous save from Freddie Woodman, and there's nothing he can do to pick himself back up to deny Flint following up.
And it comes, high across goal. Heavy down in by Stephen Hawker, it's 1-0!
Well, you can't say the ball's been coming, but Cardiff will certainly be the better team in this second half. They've lost possession, much like Swansea love to do, and they've hemmed Swansea right in to their half. They haven't allowed them out. They've kept up the pressure, and in the end, a goal has come.
Down the Cardiff right, the Bob right, but he's the only player forward, and he needs support. He's trying to work his way infield. 3 defenders around him. Who's he going to give it to? He plays a good ball across field to Bellamy, who puts it infield to Ramsey. Bellamy gets it back, tries the shot, and it's in! Bellamy has scored off the far post, and Cardiff City have taken the lead. 5 minutes to go. Craig Bellamy.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Well, shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Morrison, goal!
a commentator's dream. If only I could get a line this afternoon. Chopra, he's got a chance to win it. Some great moments in those top 5 goals there. Thank you for joining me. If you are indeed joining me, John Donovan, this afternoon for video stream coverage of the South Wales derby, the 113th South Wales derby between Swansea City and Cardiff City. There is the Swansea City side that Russell Martin has named to take on the Bluebirds this afternoon. Names to look out for: the midfield two of Flynn Davis and Matt Grimes. I imagine they will have most touches of the ball this afternoon, and Joel Puero, who is their main goal threat, along with Ethan Laird, bringing pace from the flank. For Cardiff City, while Mick McCarthy has reverted back to a strong platform, 5 centre-halves nominally, Kieran Brown and Mark McGuinness will play in the wide positions with the normal, traditional, shall we say, back three of Aidan Flint, Sean Morrison, returning, of course, Sean Morrison, and Curtis Nelson. Kiefer Moore, though, probably the main threat, along with Ryan Giles for Cardiff City. Those two need to combine, and it was great to see Kiefer Moore score that goal for Wales in the week against Estonia. We were almost ready. Bragging rights once again up for claim, up for stake, and hopefully the Bluebirds can bring 3 points home to the capital this afternoon. And there is Kiefer Moore on your screen. It may only have been from 5 or 6 yards, his goal on Monday night, but how crucial it could be for him personally, for Cardiff City as a whole. And Mick McCarthy knows, and he's an experienced man, that if Cardiff City don't get a positive result today, his team selection will come under scrutiny. But again, you can understand his thinking of trying to create a solid platform to allow Cardiff to build into the game as the match goes on. It's experience versus youth in the dugout. Mick McCarthy against Russell Martin, the man that Swansea named as a successor to Steve Cooper, taking him from MK Dons, and it will be a possession-based style for Swansea against Cardiff, looking to stay strong.